boys and girls, I want to ask you a question I didn't ask you before. Do you want to thank God or thank Jesus for anything this evening? Yes, tell us. What do you want to thank Jesus for?
Thank you for life.
Oh, you want to thank Jesus for life. Very, very nice. Yes?
For dying on the cross for our
For dying on the cross for your sins. Very well. Eden, anything you want to thank Jesus for? Eden is thinking. Alright, you want to thank Jesus for anything? You're thinking too? Wow. Aria, what about you?
For health and strength.
For health and strength, yes? For health and strength. Alright? Alright, let's continue to praise God. What's the next number?
Hymn 185. Sally would like us to sing Jesus is All the World to Me.
185, yes. That's a wonderful number.
Jesus is all the world to me, my life and joy, my all. Is my strength from day to day, without it I would fall. When I am sad to him I know, no other one can share his soul. When I am sad,
of course, we also have to make our viewing audience let's see who we have join us. Donna Springer. Hi, Donna. Hello, Elvis. Nice to see you. Long time. I tell you, it's really long time. Glad to know that you're watching Youth Life. Donna, I want you to do something for me. I want you to like the page. I want you to share the page and let all your friends near and far join us and watch Youth Life tonight. Would you do this favor for me, Donna? That's all I'm asking of you tonight. Yes? Abigail Niles is there. Karen Batiste says she's hearing, of course. Jennifer Sovereign, here am I again from St. Lucia, enjoying pleasant Sabbath, everyone. She says pleasant Sabbath. Say pleasant Sabbath.
Pleasant Sabbath.
All right, very nice. We have Vicky Cato. Good night and happy Sabbath from St. Vincent. Enjoying the lovely singing. So boys and girls, people are enjoying your singing. You're singing really good to the honor and glory of God. Right, so we are very happy. Let's take the next one. We have another one, Roshan.
Well, I'm not really seeing.
All right, 505. Let's take 505. I think somebody requested 505. I need the praise of those I love.
Every day, I want my friends to pray for me, to bear my tempted soul above, and intercede with God for me. I need the prayers of those I love. I want my friends to pray for me. On wings of faith, that I may walk the narrow way. Get by your Father's glorious grace. I want my friends to pray for me, to get my tempted soul above.
I see a comment there that I really want this. Happy Sabbath, Donna. Donna Harris. That's my best friend.
That's your best friend?
Yes.
Right. Now, Donna, you got to like the page and you got to share the page, right? With all of your friends, all right? Right, Donna? Good to see you. Who else we have? Jasmine. Let's take 442, please. That person says, please. Right? So we're going to give you your request tonight, right? As the boys and girls sing with you. And Donna says, here is in London. Donna, you're in London. Good to have you. So people are watching all over the world. All right? 442. Coming back to this earth again, and the way guys, right? So who will have the next one for us? We'll take one from you. But I just want to shout out Juju. Juju is somewhere in St. Patrick's. He's a little boy, a little root son, you know, a little boy. He's looking at Youth Live, and Juju is saying, hi, boys and girls. Say hi, Juju.
Hi, Juju.
Right. So the boys and girls, we want to recognize them, and we're happy that they can be with us, you know. And we are happy for our children. We want to recognize them. And, you know, Jesus loves the little children, and he loves them with an everlasting love. You know, boys and girls, Jesus loves you very, very, very much. Yeah, you believe that?
Yes.
Right. So who has the special one? Right. Tell us.
34.
34, number 34. That's a very nice one. 34. Wake the song.
With a song of joy and gladness, he will bring your glorious day. Banish every thought of sadness, going forth your highest praise. Sing to him whose care has brought us once again with friends to be, and his loving voice has taught us on the way to Jesus' feet.
Wake the song.
With the sound, with the sound, with the sound. The song of joy and gladness, with the song of jubilee.
Oh, thanks to thee.
Thanks to thee, O Holy Father, for the mercies of the year. May each our times here we gather, swell with gratitude to stand. Thanks to thee, O loving Savior, for redemption through thy blood. Bread of honor, Holy Spirit, sweetly draw us near to God. With the song, with the song of joy and gladness, with the song, with the song of jubilee.
That was wonderful. Amen. Did you enjoy that, boys and girls?
Yes.
Right. Well, we're very happy to have you tonight worshiping with us. Thank you very much. That's as far as we can take you. I think one time we'll have to bring back the boys and girls and just have a night of singing, yeah? Night of singing. Would you like that?
Yes.
Hey, Aria?
Yes.
Would you like that, Whitney? Eden, would you like that?
Yes.
Ethan, you would you like that?
Yes.
Right, very much, very much. All right, let's take a few of our viewers who are online, Facebook. Beauties Philip says, happy Sabbath, Pastor from Philip family in Victoria. Oh, thank you very much. And let us say happy Sabbath to all. Metisa Whitney Batty Smith says, good night and happy Sabbath to all. Homelin Jones, happy Sabbath, brothers and sisters. Praise God for the Sabbath. Sylvanos is on. Notoya Houston's Noel says, same to you, Donna. Have a blessed Sabbath. All right, thank you. Tyrlin Archibald, happy Sabbath. Yes. So all our friends. Remember, like the page, share the page. We are also on Facebook. You can find us there. We have some Facebook viewers. We haven't seen them as yet, but we know that they will join us during the course of our program. All right. Well, at this time, we just want to break now to give you a few promotions and to give you some announcements. Now, I want to let you know, tonight we are discussing a very hot topic. Very, very important topic. And tonight's topic is preventing child abuse in and out of the church. Wow. Asha, you ready for it? Preventing child abuse in and out of the church. Well, as you know, in Grenada, it's no secret In recent times, we've been having this topic being discussed all over the airwaves on radio talk show programs and television, and the different bodies that look after the welfare of children. They have been weighing in on it, and even the general public, and celebrating Child's Month. That is the awareness that they are creating, you know. And so as a church, we are not silent on the matter either. We have been doing our part, but we saw it fit tonight on Youth Live to talk to the children and to talk about this topic. So in a while, we're going to have some special guests joining us here in studio, and they are going to weigh in. We are also inviting our viewing audience on Facebook and YouTube, to join us and to ask your questions, make your contribution, because we must discuss this, right? So we are talking about preventing child abuse in and out of the church. All right, so that's our topic tonight. Very, very important. All right, by way of promotions, let me let you know, by way of promotions, of course, we want to start with a few. The preaching of the gospel is very, very important. Yes, very, very important. All right, I see Stedlin Isaac just joined in. She says, good night, please pray for Ella Jeremiah and Grenville. All right, we'll do that later on in the program. Yes, we have Eto Fortune says, happy Sabbath, pastor and children. Thank you very much. Right, so we have the preaching of the gospel is very important, and as a church, a Seventh-day Adventist church, and young people, we take that very, very seriously, because we say the gospel to all the world, Roshan, in my generation. Right, we say that every Sabbath. So we want to tell you of a few places throughout Grenada where the gospel is being preached. Even as we speak right now, if you are in the Crowshoe area, no, the Westerhall area rather, we have Ella Anderson Felix, a young, dynamic preacher of righteousness. Yeah, he has a unique style of bringing across the gospel. He is there underneath that tent. I don't know the color of the tent, but you cannot miss it. It's right opposite the Westerhall playing field. Right opposite the Westerhall playing field, and of course it is right on the main road. So you need to make sure that you visit this crusade. Then we have Pastor Jason Charles, a young man. He's in the St. James area, the upper St. James area, right on the main road. You cannot miss it. Of course, he's there, and you would want to visit that tent. That tent is on fire for Jesus. Good gospel singing. People are coming to hear the gospel, and I hear the preacher. The preacher is preaching the word. Well, what you expect? He's a young man, you know. So all young people in St. James, you know, go to this evangelistic meeting. Then we have, of course, Pastor Charles Gittens. Pastor Charles Gittens, he's opposite the TAMCC Extension Campus in Sortes. Yes, in Sortes, opposite there. Right, you cannot miss it. It's a big tent, and he's over there, you know, preaching the word of God. And Pastor Gittens, of course, has a unique way of bringing it, especially the family life issues and so on. So he's there. So these are some of the crusades that we are having. Also, we are having very special campaign coming up, hopefully next week in the conference area. Pastor Marlon Panchu would be there. And then also next week, that's the 22nd of October, Pastor Healy. Anybody knows Pastor Healy? Anybody knows who he is? You know, he will be in the River Sally area. That's close to the River Sally Cemetery. The River Sally Government School will be there preaching the word of God. Right? So we are doing that. All right. Then we want to let you know Pathfinder Day, Pathfinder/Youth Day. Tomorrow, Subi's Church. Subi's SDA Church. So you're close to Subi's, you're not so close, and you want to join them. The Pathfinders will be there. I think the adventurers from Richmond will be coming down there too, and they will be having the Pathfinder Day tomorrow, please God. All right, where the Pathfinders, they put on their uniform, you know, boys and girls, and they'll be doing their thing for Jesus Christ. Yes, and in the evening now, they will be impacting the Subi's area with a special street match. And of course, they will be climaxing with an open air service here with singing and testimony and the word and so on. So you got to join there. The action is there tomorrow. And then also Paradise, not too far from here. Paradise is also having their youth day. In a very long time, they haven't had Pathfinder Day rather. They are having it tomorrow, please God. All right. Then we want to remind you also the Children's Convention, the Grenada Conference of Seventh-day Adventists will be hosting a very important Children's Convention on the campsite, youth campsite at La Poterie next week, all right? So the children will be preaching, they will be doing and conducting the service, all right? Then the media convention will be coming up on the 28th of October at Grenville Church, I think. And then, of course, the AY and MIT and PLA training on the campsite the weekend of the 27th to the 29th. Then the big one, the last one for tonight, people, the last one for tonight is that, of course, I want to let you know, as you are aware, we have been rallying our brethren and community personnel to collect donations, food items and water and dry food stuff, baby stuff, adult stuff, to send for the people of Dominica. All right? And of course, the drive is still on. Now, we have a few more days. Now, tomorrow you can bring whatever you have to the Seventh-day Adventist Church closest to you, because the container will be packed on Thursday the 19th. That's Thursday coming, right? Next week, Thursday. And so we want to make sure that that container is full, it is packed, it is jammed, you know, and so on. The people of Dominica, they still need our support, they still need stuff. So this might be one of the last drive in this era, because they're moving on to something else. So we want you to give, and to give sacrificially, to give towards the cause. Those are in the community. You can give water, you can give food stuff like dry food stuff, peas and rice, and you have baby stuff and like diapers and pampers and so on, elderly stuff, those things, all that you think they would need. We want you to bring those things. And of course, next Thursday, the container will be packed, and on Friday morning that container will be shipped to Dominica. All right, so let's support our folks in Dominica as they go through this very trying time, and we are praying for them, and we are doing what we can. All right, so we want you to remember that. Also, someone is just sending us Shantimel will be having a match against child abuse. That is a good one. I didn't hear you. All right, isn't that a good one? Yeah, we don't want our children to be abused and things, and we are talking about that, and we have them in studio tonight. So tomorrow, not tomorrow, on the 29th, of October, Chantimel Church will be having a match against child abuse at 1 p.m. throughout the 1:30 p.m. throughout the community of Chantimel. Right? They have different speakers coming in. Speakers from Child Protection Authority will be there to give feature address and to raise awareness. So all of you in Chantimel, and once you have the time, you can go there and swell the numbers and let your voice be heard and show your support. All right? So we thank you very, very much for this. These are some of the things that we have going on. All right, now, as we said, we are discussing tonight preventing child abuse in and out of the church. We want you to take a look at what we are going to show you now. It's going to set the stage for our discussion tonight. Take a look.
Hello, I am Liz, and this is another episode of Street Talk. What do you think is child abuse?
I think that child abuse is when a child is being harassed or molested by somebody else.
Child abuse is when someone that is older than you or someone that is your family member takes abuse physically, emotionally, spiritually on you.
Well, I believe child abuse is the ill treatment or maltreatment of a child by an adult, whether it be a family member, and it also could be physically, emotionally.
Okay, child abuse is when a big person is hitting a child physically, making them have marks on their skins.
Child abuse is the mistreatment of the child.
Well, child abuse is like when you interfere with a child and the child don't like it. Well, to be honest, you're making somebody feel uncomfortable. You're doing something like they ask you to stop and you don't stop, you continue over and over. To me, that's why it's child abuse.
What do you think are the most prevalent types of child abuse?
Physical and sexual.
Sexual abuse and physical abuse.
Sexual and physical child abuse. and sometimes verbal too.
Okay. Can you recognize signs of child abuse?
Yes, sometimes.
What would you say are some of those signs?
Most of the time the child looks depressed and afraid to mingle with other people and don't like talking and beat themselves.
They'll be always depressed. When they see food they would not want to eat it. And when you're talking to them, they go shun you out.
By the way that they conduct themselves, like if they used to be brisk before, that now they just be calm and don't say nothing to someone, or you could see scars on them, or how they just conduct themselves.
Alright. Okay, so if the child is normally happy or jovial or free-spirited, the whole attitude and stuff will change once they are being abused.
What would you say you should do if you become aware of a child being abused?
Well, first off, I will advise them, pray with them, encourage them, and next up, I will get somebody they are comfortable or a trusted adult, a pastor, a teacher, to talk to them and encourage them also.
I would tell someone that can help better than I can. Yeah.
Someone like?
A teacher, maybe a counselor, sometimes maybe if in extreme cases a police officer.
You should advise a person to tell somebody they trust, talk to somebody, the guidance counselors, teachers, a pastor, just somebody who they feel comfortable being around.
Well, first of all, I might tell someone in authority who is bigger than me, or I might tell the police or somebody.
Do you believe the churches are doing enough with regards to child abuse?
Not really. Most churches talk about child abuse and they know that it's out there, but they don't really take much action and do much to help people who have been abused.
In my opinion, not really. Because you could hear them talking about it, talk about ways to prevent it, but you don't really see them do anything about it. That's my opinion.
I don't think if they should reach out to people, tell them more, encourage them, because some people when they're going through any abuse they could think about suicide or even want to kill themselves. Okay. So I think they should tell them that you have hope for them and continue.
Right. What do you think should be done to the abuser?
Well, I don't want to say kill them because everybody has to have a fair chance to live, but a severe punishment, I think, well, for the men, they could cut off their private parts or something like that, and for the ladies, well, obviously they could beat them or something like that. Well, I think they should get a punishment that they would regret doing it, having child abuse. I wish they get a punishment that they would regret doing this.
They should be hanged by the balls. Okay, this is a joke, but just know they should be punished for what they did as not just something mild, but something severe, to suit the crime.
Okay. And what do you think should be done to help the abused?
I think it should have classes trying to help them to feel better about themselves, or even though a special somebody they could talk to or they could trust and tell them that how keep going. Sometimes it's very hard to forget about it, but we could keep going and you have a lot of ways to help them and stuff like that.
They should be counseled, be removed from their homes and somewhere comfortable and safe for them.
The person, well, I think that they should go through some counseling, because after being abused, some of them go through stuff like having low self-esteem and stuff like that, so they should go through counseling in order to become themselves again.
Who do you think is being abused most, men or women?
Women. Mostly women.
I think it goes half-half. You understand? Because some women, they do abuse their children brutally. Sometimes they could be having a bad day, or sometimes it's a relationship and they take it out on the child. It could go half-half. Men do it, women do it. It does not have to say, it's not really like who does it more. In my opinion, I don't feel anybody does it more.
To me, I wouldn't say more because everybody gets abused, but on thing it'll be like more women reported it because sometimes if men have to report abuse, they'll be like people will laugh them and certain things like that.
Okay. But who do you think is usually the abuser most, men or women?
Men.
Why?
Because men, they'll tend to take advantage more on females.
I think it's both.
Both ways. All right.
Well, none.
All right. So you don't think women get more abuse than men? You think it's equal?
Yeah, it's equal.
All right. Thank you.
Well, I guess you really enjoy Street Talk and realize what we're discussing. Thank you very much, the young people there at the Montrose SDA Comprehensive Secondary School at Street Talk. Well, welcome back. Our panelists, we're going to introduce them. And of course, I just want to recognize and, say a special good night to Colleen Andrew Noel. Colleen Andrew Noel, she looks at Youth Live every Friday night. And Dolisha, your co-worker, is saying hello to you. All right? Hello to you. Right. We see Risa Latouche is joining. Sori Philip has joined in. Colin Modest, Colin Roberts rather, has joined in. And so we are talking about the topic preventing child abuse in and out of the church. It is my pleasure to introduce to you our panelists this evening as we discuss this very important topic. Well, let me start to my extreme left. We have Delroy Date, and Delroy works with the Social Development and Ministry of Housing. Delroy, welcome to Youth Live Studio tonight.
It's nice to be here.
Thank you. And then sitting next to him is Alicia Harford, right? And Alicia works with Child Protection Authority. So we have somebody right inside there, two persons right inside there. Then on my extreme right is a young lady. Oh, my extreme right, sorry. Yes, my extreme right is one of our very own, Ken Lin. We're very happy he's always on Youth Live, so you see that face very regular. And then closer to me is Sister Sharon Daniel, and of course she's the principal of the St. Andrew's Learning Center. Panelists, welcome. And thank you for coming and joining us. It's a very important topic tonight, preventing child abuse in and out of the church. What is your perspective? Child abuse. We're going to zero into the real thing just now. But what is your perspective? What is your thought when we talk about child abuse? What comes to mind? What is your perspective? Who would like to start tonight?
I think it's a serious issue that is plaguing our society, and it affects each and every one of us, families, communities, the church.
So you think it's very serious?
It is.
And it affects, you're saying it's affecting everybody?
That's correct.
Including me, I do nothing.
Yes.
I mean, I try.
Yes.
Yeah? All right, we'll see how it unfolds. Did, what about you?
Child abuse is a situation or a problem that is prevalent in our trial state. It affects family.
Oh, it affects families.
And once it affects family, then individual is who makes a family. So it affects the entire society, and that's what makes it so hard to deal with. Because no one is immune.
Okay.
With this.
All right. All right. So Daniel?
Yes. I have here in front of me, child sexual abuse occurs when a person older or stronger than the child uses his or her power, authority, or position of trust to involve a child in sexual behavior or activity. That is child abuse.
Right. That is child abuse. Right. Okay. Kelly, anything?
Basically, I see it as one of the scourge the nation is currently facing, which needs to be dealt with and urgently too.
All right. So we all agree that it's a serious, and I agree, it's a serious and very serious matter, and we have been privy to the discussions that have been held at different points, and those of you that work directly in that area would have a lot of information and so on. Well, we want to just recognize our viewers on YouTube, Facebook. Felicia Francis Miller says, Happy Sabbath. Dr. Philip has joined in. Anne Francis says, Happy Sabbath, brethren. Nakida Michael says, Happy Sabbath all. We thank you very much. You can, of course, make your comments, ask your questions. All right. We see Ricia Latouche. She says, exactly. The church talks. Let me hear Ricia now. That's a young person talking. She says, exactly. The church talks, but do not like I previously said in another setting, we do not have or utilize the necessary resources of dealing with these issues. We talk, but she's saying we don't utilize the resources. We're going to hear what are the resources, and that's why we've brought in some resources here to help us talk about this, right? Right. Child abuse. Child abuse. You, Sister Daniels, have alluded to any other definition. What is child abuse? What comes to mind? Child abuse. Let me hear from the other panelists.
It's basically all forms of physical, emotional ill treatment, sexual neglect, and exploitation that affects a child, right? And there's a lot of things that we need to look into when we look at child abuse, but this is basically a broad definition.
Broad definition. All right. Yeah. You can work with that?
Yes.
All right, all right. So based on what you're saying and based on what Sister Daniel said earlier on, there are different kinds of forms of child abuse, yeah? Yes. I'm hearing from you. I'm not no expert in this. That's why we brought you here. And I think we're still learning and so on. But you might be, as a principal, interacting with children. Of course, as a young man on the ground all the time. And these two persons work in social development, child authority, those cases and so on. So we're hearing that, of course, we have physical abuse, right? Emotional abuse. Did I hear that in one of the divisions? And sexual abuse, yeah, sexual abuse, right? Good. Now, let's talk generally. Don't get to sexual abuse. We come into that, yeah. But let's talk about what are some of the signs, general signs that a young person, that your child, we can say look for, that we can say that person might be, because we have to, do the investigation, might be abused. What are some of the signs if one is being abused, in whether emotionally or physically or sexually? We're going to talk more about that a little while. What are some of the signs one can look for? Because we are educating our young people, yeah? Educating our young people. We are also trying to educate parents, And as a parent myself, I would like to be educated, because sometimes things are happening around and we cast a blind eye. The children are abused, the signs are all around. But if we do not know, in some cases, maybe we do not know what these signs are saying, what these signs are telling us. So we want people to pay attention. What are some of the signs, right? Before we get to that, while you contemplate, let me just go to our viewing audience. Yvette Leslie says, hi everyone, watching from New York. Happy Sabbath. We're very happy to have you. All right. Colin Andrew Noel, she has joined in. Thank you for joining in. Lois Charles says, happy Sabbath. Daniel Isaac is there. Right. Okay. So a sign. I see Colin is saying withdrawal. Right. Colin is saying withdrawal. All right. So what are some of the signs? That's the question, and you can wait and tell us. Deal with that. We are talking. What are some of the signs? Signs. Date, you look like you want to start.
You see, there's one that I would say straight up, is that lack of parental supervision. And you may ask me why I say that.
Yeah, well, you have to explain.
Yeah, you may ask me why I say that.
Yeah.
If you see a child always late in the night, right? And no parents with that child, it's a sign that there might be possibility that abuse might be taking place.
Oh.
Because a child needs to be with the parents, needs to be in home at a certain time. And if you see a child out a particular time and no one is with them, is a sign that something might be happening, lack of parental supervision. And it's possible that that child might be neglected, or that child want to go home because that child might be getting licks at home.
Right. Stick up in, because I have to go between you and our viewing audience, yeah? Yes. And we're happy that they are there, so we keep them happy, yeah? So here what unaccepted, Colin is saying unacceptable behavior. She's describing child abuse, yeah? Unacceptable behavior. Not Tonya Houston Noel is saying child abuse is the worst experience a child has to endure. That child has to live with that for the rest of his or her life. Do you agree? Right, we agree. It's the worst, she says, the worst experience. Dave Charles, we're glad to have you. He says, Pastor, I'm here. We're glad that you are here, right? Kimberly Phillips says, why are the consequences for the different types of child abuse? Or what are the different types? We're going to come to that, all right? Marks on the skin. Vicky Cato is saying marks on the skin is one of the signs. I guess physical abuse. Vicky, we agree with you. That could be one of the signs. All right. Thank you for your comments. Keep those comments coming in. All right. Elvis Patrick says, good night, Pastor. How are you? I'm fine, Elvis. All right. We're glad to have you. Donisha Jeremiah is in with us tonight. Back to the panelists. So tell us signs. We're talking about signs.
Children are generally unable to settle from a school point of view.
Unable to settle.
Disruptive in class. And that hinders learning. So that form of abuse renders children with learning disability.
So they are unable to settle.
Yes,
they're
always unable to focus. They're unable to, just to pay attention and to keep with the flow of what is going on. Attention span is very low.
No, you've just educated me, and I have to start opening my mind, because I deal with young people in the Pathfinder Club, for example, not only in the school, but the Pathfinder Club, and they might be. So educate me tonight, yeah? So we are helping your parents, young people also, because you young leaders and you have your friends, those things, so we want you to listen on, right? So Houston is saying, not Tonya, Houston is saying, one sign is when a child used to be playing around a particular person, but when that person comes around, the child is moving funny. The child is moving funny. That could be a sign. Thank you very much. The panelists seem to be agreeing with you. Good points coming in here. Anne Ledlow says, a change in behavior. Right? A change in behavior, whatever that behavior, similar to what was said. And thank you very much, right? And Francis says, change of moods and behavior patterns in children. Right? And in children. So, and the panelists, they are agreeing with your points are coming.
I just like to add to change in school performance.
School performance, right?
Yeah, that adding to the behavior change as well.
Behavior change, all right?
Even with behavior, sometimes the children might become, they've been outgoing and stuff, and then they become isolated, quiet, and you wonder what's going on, because it's a change in their behavior.
Is it something similar to what Ruth Francis is saying? She says another sign is shying away from persons that they would have been comfortable with before.
Yes.
Right? Somebody made that. Child abuse damage a child, says Lois M. Charles. Child abuse damage a child for a lifetime. So it's that serious. It's that serious, right? So signs. So we have covered the signs. So
there's a sign that we tend not to look at. And from a school perspective is one that sometimes the child comes to school very early and doesn't want to leave the school. He stays there late, like you don't have a home to go to. That's a sign that you can actually look at. Comes very early and leave very late.
You've had that, because as you walk in the education system, these are signs, all right, good. Now let me ask the question. We want to zero in, and we're going to talk a little bit about sexual abuse and so on. But let's come. Are there more cases of abuse, or is it that there are more reporting now? Because we have seen in recent times, and you are aware, Kenlin, all of us are aware in Grenada, it's no secret, and across the world, because all of those things, they are on the World Wide Web. They're all over. People view the news, they listen to the talk show all over the world. And in Grenada here, in our neck of the woods, we have been having, well, I should say, an increase in the number of cases of abuse, and especially as it comes to sexual abuse. What is happening? Are there more cases? What is actually happening?
Were abused as children. Had and then it's okay one who it has affecting out and talking, and there are lots of things that are continuing to happen. So it's a situation where it seems to be the modus operandi for a high percentage of people in our society.
Right, thank you. Justika, I know you have a comment on that, but let me go to our online viewer. Remember, like the page, share the page, you know, and let all your friends know, because this topic is very, and we want to hear what you have to say. Thank you for the comments. Keep them coming. Vanessa, Hostmos is saying, sometimes the child becomes very disruptive and acts out.
Yes.
Right? That's another sign. So you have a child who is, and it could happen in the very home, you know, where you're living. So you have to look out for those signs. Is Kimberly Phillip is saying, are the signs consistent for all the different types of child abuse, sexually, emotionally, and physically?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. They vary, right? And we may not be able to deal with all of them one by one, but we want to come to the big one, right? We come in now. Vicky Kato is saying, always talking about doing stuff and themselves like running away or killing themselves. Yes. They're always talking about doing stuff. That's a big one. The
self-harm.
Self-harm. So all these are signs. What is actually that? What's bedwetting?
Peeing bed.
Oh, peeing bed. Oh, okay. I suspect it, but I want to be sure. You know, I wanted to be sure.
At the age when you're not supposed to be doing.
At the age when you're not supposed to be. All right. When you reach the age you're supposed to be control, right? Okay. Yes. So bedwetting is a sign.
Yes.
So that's a signage.
That is a sign of
even
abuse.
the use of substance abuse.
Use of substance.
Yes.
Right. Let's continue with the another one. Calvin Charles says depression.
Yes.
Children, young people, you know, children, they've been abused, they are depressed, overhandling the whole thing. And Lelo is saying bedwetting children go back to previous juvenile behavior.
True.
All right?
Aggressive infantile behavior.
Wow, boy, I'm telling you. So all these are signs, right? More is done now to build awareness. I guess she's talking about are there more cases or people are remoting? We want to come back to that. But more is done now to build awareness so more persons feel more comfortable to report.
Yes.
All right? Vanessa is saying that. And Lo says, children gets urinary tract infection by sexual activity, abusive children, right? Okay? Right. Thank you very much. So you wanted to say any weighing on the matter of are we having more cases or?
As we said earlier, it's a combination. You know, and putting a biblical slant to it, people are getting worse. You understand? So people are doing more. Yeah. Right? But since 2010, since the mandatory reporting and Child Protection Act, and you talk about mandatory reporting, and more persons now are accountable. You know, professionals are accountable to report. Yeah. Even all that would have caused this great number, but I would it's both. Right.
Okay. We want to say to Lambert Paul, pleasant Sabbath, and he says great program. Thank you very much, Lambert. Always say thanks.
Thank you very much.
Lambert, thank you. On YouTube, on YouTube we have Happy Sabbath. Dennis George says, Happy Sabbath to my dear beloved brothers and sisters. Happy Sabbath. Thank you. Kemisha Jeffrey says, interesting topic. Yeah.
Sad topic.
Interesting topic. And Kemisha says, glad to hear from the children. Glad to hear from the children. Yeah, we're trying to balance it. Isaac Andrew says, withdrawal symptoms and later avoidance and intimate relation with opposite sex, disruptive marital relationship, right? For those, I guess, especially those who are sexually
it is absolutely easy measure. Which is the is not consent. You impose that in itself is wrong. Relationship as an adult unacceptable.
It's one of the abuse also that yes, it's sexual, but it would affect you emotionally as well. Yeah, it will also affect you physically as well, because you will have probably some internal, damage, whatever it is, based on how, So it's one of them that doesn't only, not just sexual and whatever, but it damage here and physically damage you as well. So it comes, and that child is not the same anymore. You may have a nice bubbly child, but the child is not the same after that. Damage.
All right, let's see what Risa Lashuch is saying, young person. What is the church doing about it though, especially treatment for the perpetrators? Is it only to discard them from the books? How far does the church, or could the church go to deal with the issue? All right, and that ties in nicely with the next question I was coming to. Are we really prepared to deal with the perpetrators of child abuse, or have we been focusing largely on sexual abuse? Right? What about the perpetrators? They are in the church and so on. Talk to us about that, because as church people and as leaders in the church, we have to take a stand, on this issue. How do we deal with that?
The church should stay clear of this, in the sense that we are the voice of the voiceless. You understand? And we should be speaking out for persons that are marginalized, persons that are affected, right? We are the perpetrator. We propagate the gospel as well. So we have to preach the gospel. Everybody needs to be saved, right? So even though you are a perpetrator, you still need salvation, right? But the Bible says that we need to speak the truth. You understand? So we have to confess. We have to let the people know that you would have done this wrong, but you need to be saved. You need to accept Jesus. We don't hide it and put it under a rug.
We shouldn't.
We shouldn't do this, right? We put it out there, then you're going to get help. But if we put it under a rug, then you're going to suffer somewhere else. You might go to another church or whatever, and you might go to another church and somebody there is affected. You understand? So we deal with it head on, and we seek help for that individual. And that individual is an individual that needs grace, that needs to be saved.
All right, good. Yes?
Well, I would agree. It's not something that we cover up because it is a sick. It is something, that, as I said, affects everyone. And then these perpetrators, they need help themselves. Because even when you look at it, some of them probably was abused when they were younger also. So making the public know that, well, yes, they did this or whatever, so they can actually get the help, as he was saying.
All right. Okay, here what Titus Nichols, he asked children, Titus here, Nichols, he says, Who is considered a child? Who is considered a child?
For the law in Grenada is somebody under the age of 18.
18.
Yeah.
Under the age of 18. Yeah. For the law in Grenada. Yeah. And we consider once you go that way and you're dealing that way with these children in a manner like that, you're considered you violated the law. Right? So keep that clear. For the sake of the law.
But you have to look the technicality.
There's a technicality.
Because 16 you can give consent to have sex.
Age of consent.
Which is kind of double standard in my view. Right? 18 you're an adult, but you can give consent at 16 to have sex. That's the law.
And you cannot vote until you're...
Well,
you see there's some disparity.
Right, okay, we're going to leave that for the lawmakers and those who leave, but I understand what
that's
you're saying.
also because the law allow you're not able to make a decision about your the political society, but you are able to consent sexually to ruin your life.
Yeah. Wow, that is interesting.
So I can't figure that one out.
Maybe that's something we have to raise awareness and start thinking so that they can adjust something. But let's hear what our viewers. It says, and Ledlo says, children do not report child abuse because of lack of trust in parents.
Yes, that's true.
In parents, yeah. Natonia Hostenwell says, sometimes the child is so afraid of his or her parent that they do not know how to tell their parents. So it starts with the parent. Yes. We all need to have a relationship with our children that they can come freely to us and tell us everything. Sure. And I think that's a big point in terms of relationship, not only parent, because if you have parents who are the perpetrators or the persons who are doing that to their children, you know, as a principal, Sister Daniels, as workers, you know, as leaders, as young persons, relationships so that they could be able to come to speak to somebody, you know, somebody regarding this matter. All right. Titus Nichols says, coming to you, we make excuses for people who are influential in our church and community. Sad, but sometimes it happens. We make excuses for people who are, and he's not only saying in the church, but also in the community. All right. Chomin Bihari says, some children not in the mother, so they are not known. I didn't really get that, so there's something missing there. But let's move on. Stephen Ranger joined in. Tara says, we as Christians, Thomas says, we as Christians need to stand against this problem and put it to an end. That's a young person speaking. What do you say?
End it now.
End it now. End it now. Child abuse, child sexual abuse. Sonnet Philip says, perpetrators should be reported to the police and not just pray for them.
Quite so. Quite so.
You say quite so?
Quite so. I agree 100%.
I'm going on the premise of parents because this thing is a homegrown behavior. The clarion call is to parents to be more responsible, to have to not give your children too much unchecked time.
Unchecked.
Because that is where the problem manifests itself. Children travel to and from school. You're not sure at what time they are and where they're coming home. You know, you are unable to give account for your child.
Right.
Even when you're home, because a lot of our homes are made up of what we call extended families. Where, you know, homes are not just a nuclear family. And even in the nuclear family, it happens. And again, it's the relationship with the parents in the home or the adults in the home that give rise to these behaviors. So the problem stems from home with the adult who is responsible for the child who allow these things to happen. And the church, by extension, takes a similar line because the church has a tendency to cover. And that is why the law now has changed. The church no longer have a say in this. Once it comes to my attention, it's to the police I go with it, or child protection, but it must be reported. I am not going to seek opinions of whoever what I should do. The law says to me, I must, because I will be held responsible for not reporting it.
Right, not reporting.
Pastor, you as well is in that bracket as well.
Yeah.
So, pastors, once you know you should report mandatory reporting for pastors as well.
So let me, because I'm coming to something a little later, the steps and so on. But let's take few all right, I think we got through these comments already. Yes, Sally Palmer, we were there. She says, too much time. The systems that should protect our children fail them miserable. All right? And that is a fact. Too many times. We're not casting blame, but of course we got to, and it's something that must be addressed from all fronts, yeah? And we are saying the church, yeah, that's why we are here educating. Talking about it, raising an awareness, advocating, see if you please, so that we can be aware. Young people, you can know what you look for, what should be done. Leaders, youth leaders, persons in our church, we want to safeguard our children. We want to safeguard our young people, because we say they are the future of tomorrow. Well, they are here with us now, and how we deal with them, how we treat them will determine what kind of leadership and guidance we get later on. Because Sister Danielle, the truth be told, we get in there when we'll have to step back, and people like Kieran and then will have to lead, So we have to make sure that we end this thing now, and we are saying as a church, we are saying it is wrong, it is not right, no form of abuse, we do not condone it, and it must be addressed, yes? And the church must rise, yeah? Yes. Leaders must rise and do what they have to do where they are, all right? Yes. Can I ask, we want to wrap up this segment so that we can break in a while.
A quick question.
And take a special.
We know the Bible does speak of teaching the children when they lie down, when they
okay.
In this day and age, don't we think that what constitutes as sexual abuse, the right where people touch them and stuff, don't we think these are some of the things we should be teaching them, and exactly what should we be teaching them as they grow up in that?
All right.
Appropriate and inappropriate.
Exactly. What should we be teaching them?
The comments with that, how many parents, and that's one of my favorite ones, how many parents are with their children when they rise? How many of them are with them when they sit down? How many of them are with them when they walk? How many of them have this stuff on their doorpost? If you do what this says, you will be successful. But most children are not with their parents when they rise. They do not walk with their parents. They do not sit with them. They do not eat with them. So that is where we have the problem.
So you're raising a point here that just tickled my mind in terms of we go back to the home, the family structure, the home there. We have to strengthen families and strengthen homes and get back to biblical principles for God's ideal for the family. Yeah. Because a lot of problems are happening. Dennis George here says, happy Sabbath, interesting topic, right? Right, we got that, right? All right, thanks. Yeah, you were making a comment on...
Yeah, I was just saying that parents need to teach their children about appropriate and inappropriate touch.
Yeah.
They need to let them know that I normally tell my little boy that, the underpants rule. Everything is, what is in the underpants, no one should touch, and you should touch nobody there. The mouth, the chest, the legs, in between the legs, nobody should touch those areas. And you let them know that anybody who does that, you tell me and tell the teacher wherever it happens. You let them know that from day one. From a very tender age, you let them know those things. And you keep on telling them every morning, before they leave, you tell them, because we know we live in a sick world.
Also, parents are supposed to educate themselves. What are the signs of abuse?
And we talk a lot about that tonight.
As well as what puts my child at risk of being abused. My lack of supervision. Sometimes you look for aftercare and you just send the child by a neighbor, and then you trust that neighbor, then the same neighbor abuses a child because you didn't look into that.
Because they tell me, and I've read somewhere, I've heard it, that usually some people of influence or people of trust is that who sometimes a lot of people we don't think, and people you place your child in the church, so we have to be very careful about that and who we put our children, and so on. All right, nice. We coming along nicely, and of course we are going to take a break. Yeah, we are going to take a break now, and we're going to bring back the children for a very special item of music. Right, very special item of music as they sing to the honor and glory of God.
What can I give to the great I am? I am not a shepherd, so I cannot give a lamb. No, I'm not a rich man, still I can make a start. Since I don't have much to give him, ooh, I'll give my heart. Many give money, silver and gold, but to give their lives to Jesus they refuse to be bold. Many give their children while still living in sin, but Jesus is calling softly, he says, come enter in. What can I give to the great I am? I am not a shepherd, so I cannot give a lamb. No, I'm not a rich man, still I can make a start. Since I don't have much to give him, ooh, I'll give my heart. God doesn't want your money, what he wants is your soul. Many wait to give their lives to him, only when they're old. My friends, there is no guarantee how long you will live. So don't take to give your treasure, your heart you should give. What can I give to the great I am? I am not a shepherd, so I cannot give a lamb. No, I'm not a rich man, still I can make a start. Since I don't have much to give him, ooh, I'll give my heart. What can I give to the great I am? I am not a shepherd, so I cannot give a lamb. No, I'm not a rich man, still I can make a start. Since I don't have much to give him, ooh, I'll give my heart. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Youth Live, and we are looking at the very important and very interesting topic tonight, preventing child abuse in and out of the church. All right, and we thank the children for that wonderful item of music. They sound good, yeah? They sound good, and I noted, since I don't have much to give him, I'll give him my heart. Oh, that's beautiful, yeah? Right? And Jesus loves the little children, and we are talking here, we are raising the awareness, yes? And we cannot, it's a very troubling matter, it's a very important subject, it's very broad, but we trust by the grace of God what we have shared so far, and what we will continue to share, and what you will share with us will all help us in curbing this problem once and for all, yeah? Once and for all. Well, panelists, thank you very much thus far. As we go to our last segment now, all right. So let's talk. I want to ask the question: if a child comes up to me, because I heard a report to the police, but I want to get to a little more, because you guys are professionals, especially those who are working in that area, are dealing with that all the time, Date and Hartford, you know, and then of course,
is mandated to, or it's
so protection.
Child Protection Authority that handles the case.
All right. What else? That's it.
Yes,
and they take it from there.
Yes.
A person may go in different direction. They may even come to social services, but still we have to refer back to Child Protection Authority, because they are the one that have the charge to protect children in the land. Right, so they are the one that are responsible.
Finally, Child Protection Authority. Report it to the Child Protection Authority if you don't feel comfortable. So, panelists, I want you to just say a little thing or highlight the fact of the obligation we have to not take this matter lightly, but the obligation we have as leaders in the church. And they pointed to me all in, I mean, the thing you always say, Pastor, you too, you know. You understand? So, I mean, you put me in the real hot seat: pastors, elders, AY leaders, leaders in the church, persons in the church, persons in the community, you know, in and out of the church. We're dealing with it in and out of the church. Parents, what the obligation you want to say, and just highlight, you know, the obligation that persons have to report.
We have a God-given responsibility to protect our children, right? And anytime something in an adverse way would have happened to them, it is your responsibility, a God-given responsibility. God said that He wished that we don't harm any of His little ones, right? And the law is adding to that you're supposed to. So not only the Bible, if you don't want to hear the Bible, hear what the Steve is saying. That this is something that you need to report if you know it is happening, and there's something that we need to look at again, because there is the potential. If you know that something is likely to happen, that or well, you need to report. Right? A lot of times you may say, well, it's not happening. But if you know of a case where domestic violence is happening, the law would have said that if a child is likely to receive or be witnessing or is likely to witness domestic violence, that child is in need of care and protection. Right? So if you know that is happening, or you think that it will likely happen, you need to report.
You need to report.
You understand? So sometimes you say, well, I don't know, I didn't hear. But because you hear noise, you know that something may happen, you're supposed to. Is that serious? Is that serious?
I think the question I'd like to ask is, how confident are we? Because earlier we talked about the people in the high society, and we talk about report, but I don't think we do. I think a lot of the time it's the local person we will report. Most people are challenged and are frightened of the high person in society, but they will get protection. Because people in high society who do it, they have the means and the wherewith to protect themselves from the law, and we need to demand more from the lawmakers.
So Sister Daniel's hold, because that is in keeping with a question someone just asked. Should we report the high persons in the church. That's how they put it. Should we report the prominent, right? Yeah. Should we report even when it's a prominent church member? When I mean church member. So let's say, I mean, I don't want to go. Let's say you pick on me, Lila, just now, you know, careful. But let's say it's the pastor,
yes,
prominent man.
He has to come
right?
down.
Losing me,
yes.
Nobody can say. Oh,
you know why
somebody, the person is asking, should we report prominent people? I mean, come on, how you going to report me?
Easy. And you're the first I'm going for.
Exactly.
You're clean. Clean up, take
you gotta look at it in that way. Is that a pastor? He may not have only pastored this church, but he would have pastored other church. So my mind will be telling me, I wonder how much person would have done that with.
Yes.
Because he's a person of influence among the person that probably come to him. Children and that would have my head spinning. If the pastor could do it, he will hide, you know, you get that kind of privilege. He probably did it to a lot of individuals, a lot of children. And I started to wonder, you know, so I know, Pastor, you... I mean,
I laugh out of it. I'm not, it's a serious matter, people, and we get into it. I'm using me, you know. Let me before you ask the question. Titus Nichols says, but Pastor, if the person committing the offense come to you and confess, can you report to the police?
Yes.
Well, that is what I think you say. We have to report it, because remember, we still have a child or a minor, as we say, who is suffering, who needs help, who needs, you know, there are consequences to the action. Because I learned, if that child tells somebody else, right? Tells somebody else, and that person goes and reports, and the authorities in their investigation says, who else did you tell? Who else is aware of this matter? And then the person says, I'm using me again. Okay, I told Pastor Healy about it once or twice, but he tell me, forget that, and you know, you could talk about that is here, or whatever. The authorities can come for me and drag me before and for questioning, and I could be in trouble too. So we want to highlight the obligation we have as mothers, as fathers, community leaders, members in the community, members in the church. I don't care whatever, or whether you think you hold a big office or not, but you have an obligation. If you know those things are happening, to report. It is that serious. And mind you, the law as we see it now, they are stepping up on it. Right? They are stepping up on it. So we have to, even if they confess, yes, we pray and we do what other things, we try to restore and help, but we have a responsibility, because that child or that offender has we
talk about parents and the adults, but children tell their friends,
right? And
children should be encouraged to even speak about what their friends tell them. But that's a question I want you to ask. Should a minister...
Not a hard one, eh?
No, not a hard one. Very easy one, because I'm here. Should a minister or someone who has been involved in this, who is an active adult in the church, should be reinstated in such a position? If it was you, and you know, I'm just saying, if it was you, would you like your job back as a minister?
Nah. It will really compromise the way I do ministry. And the perception and so on. But how do I...
Because we talk about restoration, we talk about reinstating.
Yeah, yeah. But
I have Matthew 18:6, what God Jesus said. Put a millstone around their neck and drown them.
but because you see, it's a serious matter. There are consequences.
Yeah, but then we're talking about restoration. But I don't see restoration in this.
Yeah, but restoration, if they really wouldn't hear and so on, if they change behavior, there's a place for their consequences that would follow.
But do you wait for them to go after 1, 2, 3 to monitor? For one is enough.
No. Yeah,
one is enough. Once you do one, you're out.
Yeah,
one strike and you're out.
Out in the sense, but.
What guidelines, Pastor? That question again. What guidelines do we have in place for persons that works with our children? Be it in children ministry or Pathfinder or whatever. What guidelines do we have in place for volunteers?
Yeah, the panel is asking me now. I'll answer that in a while. Let me just take a few comments here from the. So Anne Ledlow is saying we're going to take these three. I have a friend whose child was abused. She reported it to the police and nothing was done initially. She had to go 3 times before anything was done. Well, that is sad, right? Unfortunate, yeah? Sally says, yes, it doesn't matter who. It could be husbands and wives, pastors, etc.
Yes.
Report, right? Because you're going to be in big trouble. Chinel Joseph says, they should be the first ones to be reported because they